lebu bira sa kana nung ano maramambali na rukot pinugit. Sa dilandon sa katuna singa. Sa tiga butay sa katsiko na songgo na singitay. Enan buwanak yan ay tapo-tapo. May nganita ba kabinaka. May nakini nonda sotasakan na singa binaketay. Sa talay sa katsiko may bira na turanga. Naratu na tinodo. Deu may kireira. Mera bosa bakalaw nga tataka. Nayada era sa Vakatokayaca tataka na turangan na ratu. Ira sa kana lubay nodo na lubay rewa. Era sa tikola ko sa kaya tubong. Sa kirisa ka meron na tamuta enan domo pakangon maramang bale nayadar sa sulian at turangan na ratu meron nga daw biti meron nga daw bura-bura di saat si wala ka sa kakina na non rabiba kalungat na. Ni rasating goma. Ada rasa sulia sa katsi ko naturangan na ratu. Nabukura sa ka na lubay nodo na lubay reo ero ko lang sakit. Kamu na nga rasa kiray talat nga kina. Nung ko na maramambali. Pero yalo sa mga marama. Ira na mga itay mo sa katsiko na marama. Ulangin to kay. Yanak ka na diregi sa katsiko. Nabatu ni Vakatokayaca. Sa deuti sa katsiko kinanayata. Ira sa sulian at turangan na ratu. Ang mga lilingi sa katsiko na kamunanga. Nayalon day. Nawaray ni loma-loma ruwa. Kinaluto sa kayang burono na mata kami nakanday. Anon ramana. Nasaw. Kinon ray tsiko-tsiko pakaturanga. May kalungat sa kakinanayana. Kalungat sa kakinanaturanga na ratu na manuwa sa kamburono. Kalau nga to sa kakina na lubay nodo na lubay reo eres ko lang sa kitubunggu. Ira eran rata meron ba hindi nataka na songo bimbi. Eres ko sa kakina na singa binakita. O sa kana non rakamu na nga. Kamu na nga sa kanin non ramano ang buro nodo. Ang rakamu na nga sa kana turangan na ratu na tinodo. Au sa mambalang-balang mo tagat siko na kina itukutuku. Tataw na kisaka ni non rapanua. Tataw na kigaira na kanra ko sa lakos sakit tubunggu. Tataw na kisaka ni Aba na po sa bakalaw nga tatakat siya na singanay. Tau sa mga tambera na kaya na itukutuku. Imburin basanga, bira sa kanano kung ano maramang bala na rokot na nagketi. Sosora kaya tuni.
Kemenangan Bakaturang. Kemenangan bimbi. May nabon sa levo na rato na tinodo.
Mana.
Kena itiko-tiko Bakaturang. En singainday sa solito na kaloob menta may songko ni Batakina. Nandraki solia mai da kilabinaka ni Sangi Monggoy bisa na singa. Nakian bisa na lang. Yan ang natutubo no. Yun na singainday sa anto atay ni nakinirilay. Sa anta ko binibinang kinawa na kalumbol ni solito mo nandraki. Nanon nandraki nga menta may songko ni Batitiko kina nanto na singang bimbi. Singang bimbi na itiko-tiko katura nga yung buronodo. Singang bimbi na itiko-tiko katura nga yung burong pasanga, ibiti. Kanta po binibinakakina ko na kalumbula. Saan to laki tiko kinailangin na nakamnanga pati kinakinaki. Kina bika kede olo pati tiko may. Menta nang kaibi pa sa kita ka pamaluan dang bulat takatiko.
Mana?
Sa nito masumay yung burong pasanga may kalungat tiko na itiko-tiko katura nga yung buronodo.
Mana?
Wano po ni Sali po na rato inodo. Buti kinabiwa kani. Na may semata po tatalit ko na singainday. Kanon tayo yuli po titi kumanda nga kinochoba mentambula.
Mana?
It has been 133 years since the Syria ran aground off our shores. Reportedly, on a stormy evening on Sunday, 11th of May, 1884. In their traditional presentation to me as the Vakatokayaca, I am requested by the Tui Nodo and the people of Nodo to endorse and bless the confirmation of the official relationship between the descendants of the survivors of the indentured laborer ship, the Syria, the chiefs and the people of the Tikina of Nodo, and the Mono of Rewa. The title conferred this morning, as decided by the chiefs and people of Nambunrao and Nodo, is Naluvendra Naratu, meaning the children of the chief of Nodo, known as the Ratu Natui Nodo, which will be later explained to us by the Turang Natui Nodo. On Saturday, July the 9th last year at our Rewa Day celebrations, the first formal steps were taken to bind our relationships closer. At the time at Syria Park in Nosori, I was pleased to warmly welcome their first formal delegation and said, "It is not the historical details nor the political implications of the indentured labor system I want to talk about today. What I want to dwell on are the principles of human decency and the milk of human kindness based on the foundation of God's love for all mankind." Today is about our Christian principles. It is about Christianity, accepted by our chiefs in 1838. It is about loving your neighbor, as was alluded to earlier by our Talatala. It is about loving your neighbor as you love yourself, that we extend this act of unity. Pope Francis implores us to extend hospitality to all, so that at the end of the day, we all have a sense of belonging. It is my genuine belief that it is the same spirit of human kindness and God's love for us all, which will be the hallmark of today's ceremonies and will govern all of our future relationships. And it is in this spirit that I extend to you all a very warm welcome to our modest Delta province. In this newly formed relationship, Naluvendra Naratu may have received the raw end of the deal. Rewa can by no means be called a rich province. Unlike our neighboring provinces of Tailevo and Nitasiri, we are bereft of great tracts of arable land and natural resources. Yet, we accommodate within the Suva-Nosori corridor the greatest percentage of Fiji's population and must share with everyone our fishing grounds and what little farming land we have. A great majority of our people do not share in the wealth of urban development. They neither live in sleek modern homes, nor do they participate in the greater wealth of the economically powerful. We are a people forced to live by our wits, to rise by education and hard work. And I believe that this tradition of having to labor and overcome great odds we share with people who came here as indentured laborers. This year, as we commemorate, ladies and gentlemen, 100 years since the end of the Gilmitier era, and join with the greater events held in our urban centers, we look back at how exploitation and even cruelty has strengthened our resolve to rise above our circumstances and pass on a better life to those who come after us. So being a member of Rewa Province and together with the Tikin of Northo does not mean great tracts of beachfront land, no mining rights, or seabed mineral resources. There is no easy income from tourism leases. Being Rewan, in the tradition in which I was raised, means always having to look beyond our individual circumstances and ask what we together can do for the common good.
Itu saya nak berlada. Itu saya nak nonton bunua. Itu kan tuku ni atau tiga mai. Mai marro ya na itu tuku. Ni nota sekolah lagi kerana bisa jika dukun rau. Dan mata saya dah. Nuki kita kaisa cengan ngurus sekolah sarapa tipu cara merampal. Dari gue cerita dengan waktu, gue cerita na yang tam, ada ramai waktu kata tikin na luwe nodos na luwe ratu, sama tapi saya juga nama kata ini. Una bang mata tengah, anak kena imbal-imbal, siapa kena lagi. Ikan berisa kena nonton dulu. Ya, tahu mana kerja musuh saya. Orang masa kami mendos dengan kita luar kala kerja kami na lewat mesin asal butuh orang. Di kita na mau landing di mana saja. Boleh pakai lepas saja. Tapi orang untuk kita dua itu na stone ni turun di tiada orang pere. Turun di mau turun kiri lebar. Turun juga ada sekolah. Orang tu bulu-bulu tegak, orang saya kira bulu kena kima, orang tu bulu-bulu tegak macam kakak apa dia, orang tu bulu-bulu. Orang pilih sana mana lagi kemana saya lihat sana begini. Di kalau bulu tu orang orang ini kita orang ini pulang apa besar terkait, orang tu bulu-bulu tegak na jadi teman. Kira dia mula turun ke apa sebarang. Turun ke kesal sebarang. Orang tu orang tu ni memang kasih boleh terkait ni dia. Terkait dia orang tu. Kuna orang wala na di memang kasi nalita ka kay Bali. Kila na ngono pa kulo niya. Yung pwede mo na turun ko pa mga wala ni na kita ko nalita pa karo wala turun ko rin mo. Kaya rin kayo na leway. Wala na tikinugono ko wala di karwal ni Bali. Yung kami no sa sukumay. At tarapalo sa Bali ni sa rela na may tay. Sampai mai nasal, apa yang tu disini kan tu diimbakar kan. Kalau turun lama ni korang susah ya, tu bukan lelaki turun. Rumpim bawa tu sih ramperi. Kalau sana mai na turun itu orang suka nak kata mai badi, ada mai korang tu na diimbakar kata usah orang tu sih turun. Tu susah. Kau ni lebih lupa sangat kerja, tapi ada juga bagai begitu juga. Panggorom kre. So saya, kung ano sa ruwan lang, di ko ba sinendor ka? Kung ano nang dito tayo?
Nandun di kumbagi. Tunggu kau dia kana kadu. Jadi lebih ratu tu guru, semua pada tahu yang nabadi. Kalau kau kau nonton ni, tu kau lebih ratu di jurnal ratu. Orang orang satu orang lebih kumbagi merasa. Tagay mantua. Tagay mantua. Tapi kau mesti kau berapa? Kau nonton gitu. Kalau kau lebih ratu, nonton itu lebih ratu. Orang orang satu orang lebih kumbagi merasa. Asal kalian lebih tahu lah. Ya, ubiya pada sekarang orang tak kata ini, aku sekarang ni apa mo? Lebih ratu. Masa orang ni apa mo lo? Orang ni nona apa mereka kium kuliah nggak cuma beri tamu. Itu sambil kita orang kerja ni kerja dia. Rantu kan kerja di bawah marengge jangan orang rosu deket. Bilang tempat ratu. Oh, orang lebih ratu merah. Sebab dia biasa ibit. Rore kita sona turun nopo. Yang turun rawa, ngona yang nak kaji berumur lebih ratu berumur. Sekolah sekarang ada paling persis dengan ada lebih ratu dan lebih nopo. Turun nopo, sekai nopo, lebih ratu. Kerana ada orang minai, kerana ada orang marigit, lebih ratu. Kata saya kami nama itu orang saya kita. Kerana sampai pengantin saya kata dia akan makawa. Dia akan dia na kandar mai botan orang Syria mai naslai. Dona kene wasi lebu bila na mai bung bila sosok mono. Kene tahu no sa pare tahu kita kau sa apa itu kita mai na universiti. Lebu kita kita lena pun nak kirim serta mai rotoka. Ukul cina kene dona tutu. Tiga bulu dia akan. Tiga bulu dia akan. Orang rotok. Bater na yakanta, yun to ako na wala mo yan kita patanawaga na may nataka mga bobo na posto ko na ng gilid no to mo. So yun to mo yar sa ukay na ingay sa kay tikino mo hata mo yung pagdita kanta. Sa yung pagdita sa kalit kami na yung posina sa ruto rawa kini kanta na yung kulwa. Pero gusto niya to mo wala ko na yata mo kim. Kau saya ada masa sambil dengan mau liu seorang bukila dengan India yang ngora tembal ni apa ya. Sa sisa kita mau liu pun dari itu kau kita kata. Kerana Vakatokayaca tak tembal le mengani ada na lebih ratu sesuatu ratu. Saya lebih nol secara turun nol jadi mana. Tapi bila kita kena terkandai sa temui Wareta kana matakandai na da Vito Cori na no dua bata. Kada lulu pun no no. Akhirnya lulu na kada lulu ratu bersama dengan na parlata. Bersama dengan titik sakna ya sama dengan jadi terus lagi orang orang balik bersama ibreki na waktu itu sesi kina ya apa. Arama sebab kalau mau takkan merama. Napa biu ka sa ikoya ya apa. Kita sama tapi di foto tiga kita. Kemudian nonton kanda, lebih ratu, saya lebih ratu, saya lebih nono, kemudian lebih nono. Tapi, ada macam tiga bulan kina, itu ada genggai bu, genggai, kau yang ada tanrati kemarin nak kini tiga bulan, dah tahu mana saya tahu apa itu. Ini kar saya dengan Indonesia nunggu televisi na kanda na lebih ratu kisah berlana. May tanong ako sa siya doon, tanong alak-alak. Apa saja sekarang itu?
We are so thankful that we have the Ratu, the Turangan Pinova, who is leading the way and showing the example for the rest of us with those kind words also. Thank you very much, Ratu. I would now like to just explain a little bit about the Luvendra Naratu for those of us who may not be able to see the banner. Luvendra Naratu, if you break it down, Luve in the Itaukei language means child of, a child, usually an offspring. And in singular, if you say Luvea, it means a single person. When it's given as Luvendra, it means children, plural, Luvendra. Plurality, words of plurality is also used in the Itaukei language to mean respect. When we address people of authority, chiefs, people who we regard as authority over us, we use plurality in our language. And there is and also a second meaning in the way it's given, Luvendra. It means many children of a Ratu, and it also means that Naratu is a sacred title for which the children belong to. And we cannot say Luvea to mean singular, because we will disrespect the sacredness of the chiefly position and the chiefly lineages that are attached to the title of Naratu. Naratu is a title that originally is not a part of Rewa. It has its linkages to Verata, and it has its linkages to the stories of the movement of Itaukei from our settling days, from our original landing location, across the Tualaita, to Verata, to our distribution all over Fiji. Naratu title is associated with that linkages and that history. So it's quite significant, and we are honored and we feel blessed that the Vanua of Nodo, Ratu, has allowed for the lineage of Naratu to be used for the name Idabuti. And in the initial discussions of this name, what the elders said was, it is important that the name Luvendra Naratu be used so that the people that are now identified with us will remain under the protection and the sacredness of the chiefly title, Naratu. And that's why it is used as such. I just wanted to explain a little bit. Please feel free after the formalities of the ceremony to read through and ask the questions ourselves as we go through the day.
I stand before you very, very humble and extremely grateful for all the love we have been bestowed with. Really lost for words this morning that you have accepted us in your Vevekani, your system of relationships, your system of kinship, to give us a true sense of belonging in your kinship. We took one step towards you to say thank you for your kindness to our ancestors. You heard the pain in our voice and took 10 steps forward to embrace us, to give us the love and sense of belonging we've been craving for. You've given us a platform for healing and opened new doors for us in the Vanua relationships. Although we know that you have spent a lot of time in thinking about this, and we are so blessed to become part of your people. Konemaramambale, through your blessings, we are now connected to all the 3 confederacies. And on behalf of my people, we humbly express our gratitude. I must say that the Idabuti that has been given to us as an identity is something we could not even dream of. We never dared to think about on our own. On behalf of all the descendants of indentured laborers who have toiled the land, who have shed the tears, sweat, and blood on this land, we express our gratitude for the honor and faith you've placed in us today. I'd also like to remember those who came on the ship Syria and landed here in 1884. We are told 54 lost their lives and 38 are buried in your land. It's really sad. They traveled so long, but they couldn't even step on the soil that they had come for. It seems they had sacrificed for us so we could truly belong to you today. And not only did they join the descendants of Syria, but they have joined the whole people of the indentured laborers to the Vanua. And we pay our respects to them.
What we are witnessing here today is an expression of a deep understanding of what development, what sustainable development truly means. As you all know, all the countries of the world came together in New York a couple of years ago to agree on a new understanding on what it means to achieve development for all. What they came up with was a new agenda for sustainable development with 17 important sustainable development goals. The new agenda recognizes that there is no development without peace, and there can be no peace without development. But not only that, the new agenda also recognizes that no development can be sustainable without including and celebrating culture and diversity. A development that is inclusive is a development that reaches everybody. When everybody can be reached, the chance to sustain a prosperous and peaceful society is guaranteed. So all these ideas that were spoken about and that were crafted at the global level far away in New York are now being realized here in this village of Nabundrao. In fact, this is the only place, the village, where we need to start thinking about sustainable development, about inclusion and celebrating diversity and togetherness and peaceful paths to grow and develop together. And it takes path-breaking visionaries such as Ratu Isoa Ndamudamu to make the goals become a reality. In New York last year, the Prime Minister of Fiji stated, Fiji's commitment to the 2030 Global Sustainable Development Agenda is absolute and must be a cornerstone of Fiji's national policies. Looking back, Fiji's history of sometimes separate development of its people meant that indigenous Fijians and other ethnicities, especially Indo-Fijians, had little chance to interact socially, economically, and politically, and stereotypes and prejudices sometimes evolved. But at the social and economic level, very significant changes have taken place in the country. And civil societies and traditional leaders and religious communities are working to promote religious and ethnic tolerance and dialogue between communities. And I'm very proud that the United Nations, with its partners, and I note in particular the European Union, who was with us here today, have been really working hard to advance the development agenda of Fiji and the peace agenda. As the resident coordinator of United Nations and all of the agencies present here in Fiji, I would like to reiterate our commitment and that of the international community to support initiatives like we are celebrating here today, and to support Fiji's path to reach the sustainable development goals for universal, inclusive, and peaceful development. Thank you again for the opportunity to be here with you in this and to celebrate Fiji's diversity. Thank you.
Let me share the story of this journey and how we came here today. has been quite a long journey, I must say. The aftermath of 2000 had left many of us are wondering on how we could allow such painful incidents to happen in Fiji. Some of us who worked in the two communities realized that both communities felt that they were a victim of the other. There was deep pain, anger, and stereotypes we've grown with had become further strengthened. Those of us who had the honor of working with the people, both people, working with the both side of the communities, we've witnessed that we suffer from the same issues, same fears, same development challenges. The worst is that we have cordial relationship on surface, but we have deep fear of each other. This morning started on the note of the Good Samaritan, the enemy who looked after. Sadly, we've considered ourselves enemies of each other, even though we've had surface good relationships over the years. This is understandable when we look at our history. Since 1879, when first Indians arrived on Rewa soil, our ancestors were punished for entering Fijian villages. And indigenous people were controlled to the point they had to take pass to leave their villages. We had been kept separate for 91 years, 3 generations. Our people would cop a jail term for entering a Fijian village. Naturally, the narratives would have begun instilling fear in our people not to enter an indigenous village. Until today, most people from Indian origin have not stepped into a village. It is said that till today, both ethnic groups instill fear in their children, saying that the other will take them away if they are naughty. When we gained our independence from the colonial powers in 1970, we turned our hate and anger against the colonials onto each other. And we've been feeling insecure in this land, allowing politicians to use this fear whenever it suits them. A key fear that has been played very well is that of land ownership. While large pieces of good land were taken away by the colonial planters, the rest was placed in the hands of Lands Trust Board. The indigenous people were, and still are, left with land for food security only, and they have to go through rental process like any other tenant for any enterprise or livelihood that they want to do. Indians who stayed back needed land and had to go through the same land rental system. There are times when this proves difficult. They blame the landowners for not giving them land to cultivate. When there is land shortage in the villages, indigenous people have blamed the tenant community. Politicians have had a field day playing one against the other, and our fear of each other has become a strength of ambitious leaders. In order to deal with this fear and begin a platform of true dialogue, we started looking for common ground. We all had stories of indigenous people who had jumped in to save our ancestors when Syria ran aground in 1884. Just thinking back, even when we look at the images of the two people and the way they were dressed, the way they were, imagine how foreign our people must have it looked. We are told that bows and arrows were still alive. There was very much conflicts happening still. They could have thought of as an enemy, which we've heard in the history, that there was a boat that they went to rescue one of the villagers and they were attacked. But imagine, purely humanitarian, the colonial powers took 2 days to come to Syria, but the people of Nodo went to save our ancestors. There was no fear, no common language, but people of this land saved our people, looked after them in a strange land. 100 years ago, We call ourselves more civilized now. But the heart that was there 100 years ago, we can only imagine. We began searching the story. We heard Nasdalai Reef, so naturally we went to Tailevu chiefs first. The late Rokutuimbao, Ratu Chone Mandraiwiwi, told me that the story lies in Rewa, and for us to go and approach the paramount chief of Rewa. For years I discussed with Ratu Chone about this planned process. We exchanged emails, we spoke on the phone, we met in person. He said, while this could be a good starting point before approaching our chief, I needed to go back and build consensus from our people. He said, our chiefs, there will be absolutely no issue if your people came. Are your people really ready to come together? So for 3 years, we consulted various Indian leaders, letting them know of our intention. There was excitement, but there was also skepticism that we could really develop a true relationship. We were very blessed with Ratu Chone's counsel, and he said that he's not here today, though he congratulated us after River Day. We were also very blessed that Dr. Chone Hawea joined our team in early 2013 and became another resource person. Because while our intentions may be good, we realize how different we are in our communication. It's a big chasm to cross when it comes to communication. In 2014, we started our research work in Rewa. In 2015, we reached out to the Provincial Council, to the hierarchy. In late 2015, we also made an appointment with Kone Maramambale Narakutendra Keti. I must say we were very nervous, but she was so gracious. We just asked her that we wanted to meet with her because we were looking for a story from Rewa, the story of Syria Rek. She says, yes, it's our story, but it's not my story. You have to go to Turangatu Nodo. With the delegation, we came to Nodo to meet Turangatu Nodo, and he was leaving for a church commitment. He gave us his time. We presented our Tambua to seek the story. He shared the story, and in very simple words, as many of you who've met him would realize, in all his simplicity, he said, oh, it's an old relationship you have come to renew. Yes, we've heard from our elders that you belong to us and we belong to you, since your ancestors are buried in our chiefly grounds. It's not the word we came to look for. We just came to see what were the common grounds. And in that Tambua receiving, he said, you belong to us. It was a bombshell for us. He went on to his church commitment, and we went to Navilada, the village that had conducted the burial. Everyone we met in Navilada, young and old, said the same things that Turanganaratu had said to us. Oh, we've been told if you see Indians, you belong to each other. All of us who were here on that day, we were stunned. How could we not know? Because the only narrative we've heard all our lives is that we don't belong here. I must acknowledge that Navilada, the village that conducted the burials, were very warm and welcoming. I acknowledge the late Daunodo, the late Matanivanua, the elders, who were all welcoming of the relationship to be re-established. After all, for generations they have rostered people to clean our graves of our ancestors, and our story has been part of the oral tradition. Even the younger people I've met from Navilada said, yes, we were all rostered. In their lifetime, they would have it rostered at least once to go and clean the graves. In subsequent meetings when we shared with the Ratu, that we've never heard the words we belong. We've always heard we don't belong. And that's what has been, sometimes eats at our hearts. He said, who says you don't belong? Of course you belong to the land.
We're very sad that it took us more than 100 years to find this story. And it totally changed the journey.
we were here wanting to find a common ground to start a dialogue. And here, the mat was slipped from under our feet. We said we wanted to express our gratitude to the Vanua of Nodo for looking after our ancestors. We know it's been too long a while, but we wanted to do that. Datu Naturanga Nodo told us that any gratitude coming to his Vanua has to go to his paramount chief. He expressed our need to Gone Maramambale. She said, we all are in our 70s. If we want to establish and sustain the relationship, the whole of Vanua has to be involved. And we all know the story of Rewa Day. We were adopted by the Vanua of Nodo and Rewa on Rewa Day. We were not only adopted as a people, our food was also adopted as part of a food that could be offered to chiefs. These were the things we did not expect, but it has been given as blessings to us. Once there was commitment from Vakatokayaca to the relationship, there was an amazing effort made to see that this relationship grows. I must say, working in the Fijian villages over the last 20 years, I've learned some cultural protocols, how things have to happen. But being part of the inner circle had me really in a different place, because a lot of things changed and I didn't know, and I'm still learning how this works. I've been so ignorant. But what was amazing was, when there was a commitment, the guard was down. Even though we were making mistakes, they were said, that's fine. There's no mistakes in this. You are welcome. And throughout these years of discussion and research and talking and making things work, I know we are faltering, we still don't understand. But they have been so generous. I thank the Vakatokayaca for leaving their comfort zone and traveling to West twice. The chiefs had a dialogue with our people in December. They heard our pains and concerns, and most of them did not know our painful history. Vakatokayaca Nodo hosted many meetings with us to try and understand our challenges, despite challenges of his health. Gone Maramambale, despite her very busy schedule, received us, conducted meetings to fine-tune programs, ensured that our people felt heard. I've been very humbled to witness an amazing love and generosity. I've been able to sit in village meetings where Vakatokayaca Nodo presided, meetings at the Yatana level, and I'm amazed at the respect the chiefs have for each other and the commitment to this process. We were also very humbled when Vakatokayaca said, we don't understand enough about your people, and we want to learn about your people, your culture as well. So we know that there's an opening and there is a huge opportunity for cross-cultural learning that has to happen before this can be further strengthened. After Rewa Day, there was a meeting as a discussion to carry on furthering the relationship. What I learned is that the indigenous community has great respect and a lot of respect for relationships. We heard it's one of the key principles today. Interestingly, for us also, even our people came as individuals, they developed strong relationships here. If a woman calls a man a brother, even the generations down, we treat them like a blood relationship. So the word has had a lot of impact on our relationship as well, and we're very appreciative of the relationship circles of the Vanua. When we were discussing relationships, Vakatokayaca Nodo asked, what was our foundation? What was the Kinship? What was Indentured People's foundation? Dr. Chone explained about the Girmit and that our foundation was that of slavery. Vakatokayaca Nodo was visibly disturbed by this. He said, if our foundation is that of slavery, for generations the pain that we carry will continue. Turanganito Inodo said that our people must be identified with dignity and must have an identity that has the foundation of the Vanua, foundation in the Vanua. I silently witnessed as the elders deliberated for hours on appropriate name, and for days the discussion continued to think through future of this identity. And we all saw what happened this morning, and we're so grateful that we have come to this juncture. I must also say that the entire process has been started and funded by the grassroots people themselves, from both sides. Rewa Day or today has not been funded by external parties. It has been a commitment that we've made to each other, and we wanted to show each other that the process is not dependent on outside donors. We are committed and we will make this relationship work. When I had expressed grief that it took 100 years for us to reach Nodo, Gwenemara Mambale in her generosity said to me, there's a time for everything and people are chosen for each step. We were chosen to take this step. I don't know why I've been chosen as an instrument in this amazing journey, but I've been very humbled at all that have transpired in the last few years to bring us here. I shared with you this story of years of talk and work that has happened because I've seen there's a lot of questions arising, especially on social media, on what happened, how did Rewa Day happen, and how did this happen. This did not just happen out of nowhere. There's a lot of work happening behind the scenes. I must say, we just took one small step to seek a common ground for dialogue. When we expressed we don't belong, the elders, the chiefs, the Vanua went out of their way to give us an identity and belonging for which we are speechless. For those from outside of Fiji present here today, there are two systems at work in Fiji. We are citizens with all the rights and privileges, but in any traditional system, we would be called visitors from Gidmet days because we had no link or relationship in the Vanua. Today, this identity will give us a place, and for some reason, we've been longing to be one with the people of the land. Despite being equal citizens, we all have been saying we don't belong. Why? We have had this longing to belong to. We hope this opportunity will open doors for new learning and new dialogue so we don't fear each other, but can genuinely care for each other as we grow. I also want to raise another issue. The media has raised the issue in the last few days of question of VKB, the Volonikawanbula. And I want to just share and say that VKB is for the indigenous people with their rights. We have no intention or desire to be in any space that may cause any insecurity to the people of the land. We are just happy to have a space in your heart. We have been longing to be part of the people and identity. We have a responsibility to their people, to the Vanua, to the protection of the relationship. And the entire process is not about VKB. It's about peaceful, loving relationship, a better understanding, removal of fear, so we can grow together and we don't see a repeat of 2000 again. We pray that we can do justice to their honor. We pray that we can do justice and honor. I must say that there's still a long journey to go, but we're very grateful that we didn't even ask, but you've bestowed us with the love that we've been longing for. Konemarambali Narukitu Keti, Turanganito Nodo, and all the Turangitoke from Rewa. We are extremely grateful. We accepted the buddhi. We hope that we can do justice to it. And we hope you'll teach us a little bit more about it. Now we know we're connected to whole of Fiji, and it's a bit daunting for us to know and protect this relationship. We pray that you may be richly blessed and have long, long lives to see this relationship to fruition. I also call on my people, the Bure Nodo, Laluvendra Naratu, to please work hard to make sure that the faith placed in us, that we are able to protect this relationship, that we do not allow this relationship to be spoiled by anything whatsoever. because our future depends on us.
For all of us, we have to go along slowly, because you're not just taking one person. You're taking really, big groups of people. So the groups of people all have to know what is happening so they can understand and be a part of the journey. It's a long, we've come a long way in this last few years, but we still have a long way to go. We are not 100% yet. We came, I think, from 1%. And for us to be able to progress this far in just a few years, I think is a miracle. And because we are working with groups of people, communication is not our forte. Sometimes we are given the wrong message, or we pick up the wrong message. So we've still got a long way to go. We've already had 2 provincial councils in December and January, where they came in as not as delegates, but as people who were invited to the meeting. So we've taken up some of their very good proposals in terms of our own development in the province. So for us, we take this relationship very seriously. We are looking at them as members of our provincial council, members of the smaller committees that are part of the provincial council, because we have to be realistic. They have a lot to offer us. They belong to an old. They have a long history. Yeah, they have a long history, and they've achieved a lot before they came to Fiji. And whilst they've been here, they've been, on the whole, most of them are high achievers. So we have a lot to learn from them. They have much to offer us, and it's a reciprocal thing where they give to us and we give, and we meet somewhere in between. This is part of our history in Rewa, and we know that not everyone will have the same picture that we have. But I'm sure that slowly by slowly, as they learn more and more of what is the rationale, what is the real thinking behind this relationship, they will appreciate what we are trying to do, because it's for the benefit of our future generations. It's not just for us. You see that we know that he's quite old, and I'm old too. So we're not going to be around much longer. But what we are doing now is for the future generations and the good relationships that we can, that has been established now, that we need to work on, and we hope that it will take us together, and particularly the younger generations, into a better future.
Thank you.